All right. Good morning, everyone. Well, I guess it's closer to afternoon now. It is Sunday. I usually am moving a little bit slower here, but Empires and Puzzles did release another portal. It is the Astral Portal once more, and of course, it has brought us a new member of the brand new family, the Astral Demons. So, what is this person all about? She certainly looks kind of funky. I'm not sure what's going on there, but very astral. I'll give it that. Like, it gives me astral for sure, so I'm down. And her name is Antema? Antema? Sure. Okay. Hi, Anatemah. Anyway, she is going to be a blue cleric. Cleric class is always a useful one. I like the protections it provides against mana and effects that stop specials, etc., etc. So that's always nice. Let's do a reminder of what kind of family bonuses we have today. The Astral Demons are going to have a bonus for 1 or 2 heroes. This character gains 3 or 6% mana when taking special skill damage. This effect can activate once per turn. Okay, well, that's kind of interesting. Not super overpowered, but it is nice to get additional mana where you can. Then there is also a 50/70% chance to cleanse a random cleansable status element from this character when receiving special skill damage. Okay, so basically, this is a little bit more of a selfish ability, but she does do a self-cleanse at a 50 or 70% chance when she takes special skill damage as well. It is helpful, it is nice, but it's not as overpowered as some family bonuses we've been seeing of recent. Down in the passives department, we have resist mana ailments. This character is immune to status ailment and negative stacks that affect mana generation. Applies also to status ailments that block mana or steal mana. Much like the last videos I did to review these guys, they cover a lot of mana effects there, but the one thing it doesn't specifically mention is mana cuts. So things like Fergus that automatically slashes a certain amount of mana off. I don't know if they have protection against that, but every other type of a mana effect they certainly do, so that's pretty cool. Then we also have perfect accuracy, like all the characters in the Astral Portal. They do not miss their targets, that's also fun to have. And over in Aether Power, they went with defense up. So this person will be a little bit tankier for the first 6 turns with that 20% defense increase. All right, so down into the specials. Oop, there we go. That defense up will be helpful for her to survive long enough to get Astral Orb off, which operates at slow speed. And it is going to do 400 damage to 5 random enemies. Hit enemies become afflicted with Astral Orb. That's interesting. When afflicted with the Astral Orb, the owner can't gain new buffs. Astral Orb explodes in 3 turns, dealing 450 damage to the owner. If the Astral Orb is cleansed, the owner receives Resonate for 3 turns. Resonate deals 709 damage and reverberates to 5 random enemies each turn. Okay, so this is pretty interesting. Let's talk about what all this means. First of all, Reverberate is still something we're getting used to, so I'm going to give you my best understanding of it. I have not really run into these characters yet, so I haven't even gotten the chance to go against them to give you a good idea of how it works. But basically, from what I understand, is Resonance is going to sort of act like a dot, and it's going to sort of pulse to people on that team. So in other words, if it's afflicted on someone, and this one says it's going to resonate hitting 5 random enemies, that's going to hit them, but there are a few caveats. In fact, there's a question mark here. Let's just go into it to explain it. If the Astral Orb is replaced by new Astral Orb, it explodes. The effect can happen up to 2 times per turn. Damage can't reverberate on the same target twice in a row. Reverberating damage is reduced after each hit. So there you have it. Although this will reverberate 5 times, it cannot hit the same target twice. That doesn't mean it can't hit the same enemy opponent twice in one turn. It just can't be twice in a row. So if it goes off 5 times, it can hit the primary target, then another target, then back to the primary target, then another target, and it could even hit the primary target a 3rd time. So it is a pretty cool ability that it can hit multiple targets like that. But when you think about this character, there's a punishment involved in the idea of dispelling the original effect, right? Because she doesn't create that resonance effect immediately. That is a punishment for cleansing the Astral Orb that she creates. And the Astral Orb is pretty cool, too, because it's going to stop them from getting buffs, as well as explode 3 turns later and do 450 damage. Now, 450 damage is not that exciting. My question is this. These Astral Orbs, can you have more than one Astral Orb on a target at one time? In other words, it said right here that it's going to do 400% damage to 5 random enemies. Hit enemies become afflicted with Astral Orb, right? But if there's one Astral Orb up on a target, is that the stack? Or, can it go up? Like, if there's 3, will 3 turns later each of those 3 explode for 450 damage, or is a character only allowed to get 1 astral orb? That's the type of thing I would like to know, because I think it could probably be significant if you could have several astral orbs on one character, especially for things like Titan, right? Because the Titan is likely not cleansing off that ability, but if you could put 5 little ticking time bombs on the Titan that explode later for even more damage, this would be a very significant character to take versus Titans. But again, a lot of that is going to be dependent on how these astral orbs really function, and they don't give us a clear and determined way to know how that works until we see it play out. It doesn't say that a character can only have 1 astral orb up on them at a time or anything like that, so I'm hopeful that this will function in such a way that you can have multiple astral orbs on a target, and if it is cleansed, then it would still create the resonance. I don't think it would create 3 separate resonances, but I don't know. Again, all of this will have to be seen. But I do think this is a very interesting character, and the type of curiosity I have around this character, I'm going to give them a pretty decent grade. Like, for example, I think this is clearly an 8. Yes, this is a slow character, but she has the type of effect that is going to be relatively devastating if it goes off, especially if you're closer to the end of a battle, right? And your opponents only have maybe 2 or 3 guys left, and you have 2 or 3 guys left, but she's one of them, right? Like, then she goes off, and she's going to hit 5 times for 400 damage. That's going to double up or even triple up on certain people and help you finish fights off quite efficiently. In Rush, I can see this person as being quite a monster, and even on Titans, if the Astral Orbs function in the way that I expect that they will, I think this character could be a fun Titan hero to toss in there as well. So, that being said, I'm giving her an 8 only because I don't understand the full functionality of her special. I think she has potential to be more significant than an 8, but again, it's yet to be proven, so I think it's safer to leave her at an 8 for now, but say that it's exciting if you pull her. I think she's fun. I think she's different. Definitely level her. Enjoy having something kind of spooky and cool. The astral effects are fun. So yeah, congratulations to those who pull her. Thanks for tuning in for this particular one. I did decide, since I was a little bit later, I was having some technical issues with this video. The voice might have changed part of the way through. Just that was because I had to do some equipment change. Anyway, I've already completed some of my quests, so I will be able to do a couple polls. Let's go ahead and do those polls now. I don't expect this is going to trigger much because I really only have 2 polls to work with, but it's still fun to see some polls. So let's go ahead and get those done. Wish me luck, everyone. Oh man, Hawkmoon, sweet. All right, and then one more for good measure. I wouldn't mind getting any of these new astral demons just to check them out. Let's see what happens. Oh, it's blue. And Ulmer. Okay, so that's pretty much an expected result from only having 2 pulls on a portal with a relatively low pull rate, but I wish you all better luck than that, and I will catch you in the next review.